So in this video, I want to tell you exactly how I landed my first high ticket sales role at 19 years old when I was a complete beginner. I had no sales experience at all. I want to tell you step by step exactly what I did to actually get that role, what actually worked for me, so you can copy me and do the same thing. If you don't know who I am, my name is Alex. I'm a Swedish guy and I've helped over 100 guys get into high ticket sales, land roles, and make a good income online by doing high ticket sales. And I've also done this for myself, gone from zero to making my first 10K a month in about 3 months, and now I make way more than that with high ticket sales. So I want to break down exactly what to actually do in a way that's more applicable for you watching this right now, because I know I made a bunch of videos and also other gurus online talk about like how to go out and land high ticket sales roles, what to say in your outreach, etc. I want to talk to you about like who you need to become to actually land that role, who I needed to become to actually land my first role and go from 0 to 10K in 3 months. Because that's way more important in my opinion compared to just like saying the right words in your outreach, And truth to be told, if you just are the right person, if you just show up in the right way in your outreach, in your interviews, you will naturally land roles just because of who you are, not because of you having the perfect script or saying the right words in your outreach, okay? A lot of people get this wrong, Maybe if you're watching this right now and you've tried to go out and land your first high ticket sales role, done some outreach, or if you're trying to like take the first step and get into this, like understand first off that sending out copy and paste messages, it can work. You can go on Instagram, you can go on school groups. It's like there's some methods that work better than others. And I'm gonna walk you through like some methods that work extremely well right now because I've seen from hundreds of guys that I work with of like what works and what doesn't work. So I'll give you some methods that actually work. But first off, is understand that you need to become that person, okay? I don't want to get like all woo-woo and like spiritual what you hear, but like, because I used to like not believe that stuff at all until I actually made my first 10K a month with high ticket sales. And the truth is that like, if you just start acting like the version of yourself that's already making 10K a month in high ticket sales, you start acting, you start carrying yourself, you start speaking from the version of yourself that you're currently trying to build right now. The version of you that's making $10,000 in high ticket sales. If you start acting and talking exactly like that person right now in your outreach, in your interviews, that is what's going to separate you from everyone else. That's what allowed me to land my first high ticket sales role. So I want to tell you the story about how I actually got into this, because I used to, from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to like make money online. I always wanted to take a different path. I never saw myself in the 9 to 5. I never ever saw myself being like 30, 40 years old, grinding my ass off in a traditional job, commuting back and forth to work. Especially when it's dark, like in Sweden, like during the winters, I could never see myself doing that, like at all. I always knew I want to do something else. I can't see myself as like grinding myself, working for some like fat boss and like hating my life. So I always knew I wanted to do something different. I tried a bunch of different things, but a fundamental thing for me that has helped me a lot in my journey was I always had this belief inside of me that I can do more. I can go further. I can achieve more. I'm capable of doing that, and that's helped me like massively. So I want to help you like develop that if you don't have that right now, but also how to use that in the right way, because that's helped me massively. Because that belief is what's going to allow you to show up, for example, on an interview or show up in your outreach to actually land the roles. Because the reason why, maybe if you've done some outreach right now, or if you're not confident you can actually get into high ticket sales, is because of who you are as a person. Because you lack that like conviction in yourself, you lack that this visualization of like you seeing yourself being successful. Because that's why I showed up. When I showed up to my interviews, when I showed up to my first ever role, I showed up to the interview with so much conviction in myself. I had zero like idea what I was doing. I didn't know the script to follow. I had no like actual sales skills developed. I wasn't good. I just done some couple of like cold calls with my agency before. That was it. I never done actually high ticket closing, But I got on that interview and I just believed so much in myself and my ability to figure shit out, and that I was capable of making it work. So that the guy that was interviewing me, and also when I was doing my outreach, they saw that, and my actions reflected that, okay? This is the first lesson I want to share in this video. Like, you will only take the actions to get the result that you want if you truly believe that you're capable and that you're worthy of getting there, okay? Like, you're not gonna go out and do enough outreach to land a role or say the right stuff in your outreach or show up in a confident way on your interviews or even perform in a role if you don't deep down believe that you're capable of doing that. So it all starts with that. It all starts with your belief. That's why this stuff is so important, that you need to sit down with yourself and make sure that you actually believe in yourself, that you're actually like confident that you are capable and worthy of getting to where you want to go. And if you sit down, and this is why it's so important, is like eliminate distractions. Something that I really locked in on before, like the year and honestly 2 years before I came into my first high ticket sales role, is just lock down my habits, you know. I stopped doing like is doom scrolling on social media, you know. I stopped watching stuff I shouldn't be watching. I stopped just like, doing bad stuff, like doing bad habits. I had a very like strict routine. I would wake up on time. I was doing, you know, like cold showers, meditation, like all that stuff, you know. And I don't think you need to go like that extreme when you're doing all that stuff, but you need to just like clean up your life, you know. If you're, I don't know, if you're smoking weed, if you're watching porn, if you're eating like unhealthy food, if you're going to sleep late at night, watching Netflix until like 2 a.m., you need to clean up these things, because what that's going to do for you is going to create conviction. It's going to build self-trust, where you trust yourself. And I think that's a key factor. At least for me, it's been like a key factor. When you trust yourself, when you, for example, when you can stick to good habits for 6 months, a year, you know, that builds a self-belief, a conviction in yourself that shows up in everything else, you know. Because when you've successfully been able to like live a good life and have strict habits and like just be disciplined for a long amount of time, you will start believing that you're capable of doing other things. You know, if you can stick to like waking up early in the morning and doing hard workouts for 6 months, why wouldn't you be able to come into a high-ticket sales role and make 10K a month, you know? Like hard things becomes easy when you just like train yourself that you're capable of sticking to your own word. So that's a fundamental thing. Like for you right now, if you're watching this and like you're thinking about like what should I say in my outreach, and what should I do to like get on interviews, or I'm getting on interviews but I can't land roles, so I don't know how to find good offers, or what should I say my when I get on interviews, so what should I say in my first like opening message in my first outreach, you know? Like fuck that stuff, you know. Just focus on becoming the person that you need to be, and then the results will come naturally. When I got into high-ticket sales, it happened so quickly for me. I went from 0 to 10K a month in 3 months because I was already that guy. Because I had already like put in the work of just like developing myself as a person. I eliminated bad habits from my life. Waking up at time, working out. I was like eating good food. I was meditating. I had a lot of like mental clarity. I wasn't doom scrolling. I wasn't watching porn. Like I removed all those bad things that I was doing like beforehand, like the old version of myself. And I already stepped into that new identity before the results were there, you know? So I'm not gonna get into like all this manifestation stuff, but this is what manifestation actually is, you know, acting like the person, like the version of yourself that you're trying to become before the results are there, okay? So that's what I want you to do, taking away from this video, is like you start cleaning up your life. If you don't feel like you have this like intrinsic belief that you're capable of going further, then develop that, clean up your life. And the best way to do this is just like remove distractions, you know, remove yourself scrolling on your phone for 3 hours per day on TikTok. And stop watching, if you're watching porn, you stop watching like Netflix all night long, and like you stop scrolling as much as you're doing right now, because scrolling kind of almost like fucked up my life at certain points of my journey, whereas I was just like so distracted from just looking at the stuff that I was not doing right in my life, you know? That's probably why you're scrolling right now. You're probably scrolling because you're almost kind of distracted, like hiding from the like other things that you might be doing in your life, maybe going to bed too late, or maybe doing other stuff you shouldn't be doing in your life, you know, maybe doing drugs, weed, I don't know. But like that kind of stuff is you're only gonna like fix those like bigger issues when you stop distracting yourself all day long, you know. So first of all, let yourself sit with that like emptiness. Just like remove all distractions, remove your scrolling and watching bad stuff, Netflix, etc. And then yes, you will have, that's gonna be tough for you, because then you're gonna have a lot of like stuff that you have to actually just face. Like yeah, your sleep routine is fucked up, you're eating shitty food, you're watching porn every single day, like you're doing all these like bad habits, you're smoking weed, you don't working out properly, you know. You will face those things, you will face like how you actually feel and like the brain fog that you have, etc. And that's gonna force you to actually fix it, okay? And that's the transformation that you have to go through, and you fix it, you get yourself dialed in, you become disciplined, and then coming into a sales role is just like a walk in the park. It's easy to do, okay? So then they like high ticket sales and getting into a sales role and making your first 5-10K a month. It's not that hard, you know? Like we're not talking about you building a business and making like $100,000 a month and figuring out like the next Apple or Google or whatever, you know? You're just learning a skill that's been around for hundreds of years, learning how to sell, you know? And then you're just going into a business that's already proven to work, that's already making money, that's already like, that already has everything in place. They have marketing that's working, etc. You just come in there and just fix one problem of either being an appointment setter or a closer for the business, just converting their leads into customers. That's it. It's not rocket science, okay? So if you can understand this, and again, start acting like the version of yourself that you're building right now, start talking from their perspective, showing up to interviews, doing the actions that person will do in your day-to-day life, you will get those results. That's what I did, you know? So just give you some specific advice, what's working right now. School outreach, extremely powerful. What that is, you go on the platform Skool, Skool, and you will go into different groups, search for appointment setters, search for closing, high ticket sales, and you will find a bunch of free groups. Join those groups. In there, there's a bunch of opportunities. And if you want help from me, I also have a community where I train. I've helped over 100 guys to get trained up and land roles with this, to actually like learn the skill, actually get good at this stuff, so you're not just getting into a role and then you just struggle to actually perform in the role. I help you actually get trained up and also connect you with extremely good roles from my personal network and just place you in roles basically. So if you want the help from me one-on-one to get into this and succeed and get coached one-on-one to actually build this like new version of yourself, to actually get good and also get placed in good offers to go sell for, apply for coaching down below this video. Only do that if you actually see yourself being good at like speaking to people and you actually like talking to people. But if that's you, apply down below. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Become the version of yourself that you need to be to get to your goal, and act like that version right now without needing to see those results. And I promise you will get there. That's what I did. And I'm rooting for your success. I want you to win. So take action on this stuff. Apply this right now in your life. Starting today, start acting. Every decision that you make, every single thing that's going on in your life, act like that version of yourself that you want to become right now. Speak from that identity and the results will come. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.